We're live.
Awesome.
Whitney Young football is on the air. Hey, I'm here with Coach Dan Finger. Coach Finger, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. So we are at the 2023 football banquet, just getting ready to kick off. They've got some setup going on back here. We've got a festive atmosphere, and we have a reason to be festive.
Yeah.
Coach Finger, awesome year, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
9-4 season. Advanced to the Chicago Public League playoffs, first time in Whitney Young history. We didn't rehearse any of this, so just your top-line reflections on this season.
Today we celebrate this group, but, it's mostly about the seniors and their families. And, it's, for me, at some point tonight I'll start blubbering and crying and get like I always do, but
I'll probably be ahead of you in that.
Yeah. And part of it will be because I was thinking about the arc for these 4-year guys, especially these seniors, and not being in school their whole freshman year, and they decided to come out and join a team that a lot of them, they'd never played the sport before. They never met any of their classmates. They never met any of their teammates. They never met any of the coaches, and they just sort of took a chance. And we had a great year that spring. A lot of ups and downs, and games canceled and all that.
Yep.
And it started, that senior group was a great group as well. And, I see a lot of, the yin and the yang, the puzzle fitting together based on what that group had done that spring, and kind of making the most of a situation where they weren't going to be guaranteed to be able to practice the next day or play. And these guys kind of took that mentality and ran with it this year. Just a group that pushed us, even when we didn't want to, coaches included, and but we needed to. So we're going to miss all 10 of these guys an awful lot.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll go through each of those guys. Let's talk a little bit about on-field action. I pulled some of the stats, and it's really, it's impressive, and there's a story behind the story on all of it, right? So if you just looked at the top line, 9-4, 6-1 regular season conference, throw a couple more city playoff victories on that, so 8 wins in the Chicago Public League. Offense averaged 24 points a game. Defense gave up 16 points a game with 4 shutouts. There was a 6-game winning streak in there.
Yeah.
And then you look underneath it, right, and you look at that, real specifically, and sort of the arc of the season, right? So if I look through, and I think it was through maybe the 5th or 6th game of the year, we were averaging 174 yards passing, 86 yards rushing through that first group of games. Then the Taft game came, right?
Yep.
So through the rest of the course of the year, averaged 170 yards rushing, 64 yards passing, and culmination on the rushing side of things, 338 yards rushing against Taft in that playoff game. Let's talk a little bit about those dynamics. I mean, both sides of the ball, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, offensively and defensively, but offensively it really starts up front. We were lucky to have everybody who played a snap of varsity offensive line in 2022 back this year. I thought you could really tell.
Yeah.
We played as tough, if not a tougher schedule, frankly, and we, just looking at the teams, obviously playoff games, you only see good teams there, and our non-conference hopes a 1A semifinalist. Perspectives is in the middle of the pack of the red division. Last year we had played a white division team for our second non-conference game. So, adjusting all that, it's even more impressive to me that these guys were able to handle up front, all the proverbial bullets flying the way they did. And, defensively, I got to give a ton of the credit to Coach Connor O'Donnell. And, he had the idea of going to 3-down defense. And, I come from a 3-down, coaching tree, so I loved that. And but there was a learning curve. Weeks 1 through 3, we struggled against the run. We struggled to stay gap sound, all that, and then it sort of clicked. And in our postseason exit interviews with all the kids, a number of them said they loved the way Coach O'Donnell has them take notes and stuff during film, and really lets them take ownership of studying the opponent's offense while directing them subtly. And that's something that I think really paid dividends. Our guys communicated well. Our guys really owned their understanding of our opponents, and I think it showed in a bunch of those games.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to also mention, as I was going through everything, turnover margin. All right, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but first 2 possessions against Hope, we fumbled. We had, I think, 2 interceptions also in the first half. So first half of football, we were down significantly, down in the turnover category, -4. Rest of the year, 9 turnovers for this team the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So we were plus 14 the rest of the year. 12 interceptions, 11 fumble recoveries that we had on our side. So just that part of the game definitely won on. The other thing I looked at, 9 games with 5 or fewer penalties.
Wow. Yeah. I actually didn't know that. We haven't finished our self-scout yet, so this is you're catching me in an honest moment here. But you can ask any of the kids. My pregame speech every single time, the keys to victory are consistent, and it's takeaway battle, eliminating pre-snap penalties, and then explosive plays, and so it's a numbers game. If you can possess the football more, if you can steal possessions, if you can start your possessions in great field position, you're going to be in really, really good shape. Your percentage, your likelihood of scoring goes up so much, and same with stopping the opponent. And then penalties, I mean, it's just totally in our control, right?
Yep.
I mean, and we deal with the really, really smart kids, and that nobody's perfect. Stanford and Duke and Northwestern and those programs.
Thanks for throwing Northwestern in there, Coach. Appreciate that.
University of Chicago, and they commit pre-snap penalties too, right? They got smart kids, but it speaks to the way our kids bought into our total complementary football ideology, and I think what we talked about before with being able to run the ball more in the second half of the season, whereas we passed the ball more in the first half, and being able to do that, and the kids being able to transition, spoke to just their buy-in and belief in each other, and then in our coaches as well. All
right. Well, I know you got to do a little more prep work here. So the one thing I wanted to do, and you mentioned the seniors, all right? So I thought we could go through this list of seniors. Each of us could probably talk for about an hour on each of these guys. That's the love and appreciation we have for each of them. But I'm just going to give you the challenge of maybe a word that summarizes these guys, and then maybe a sentence or two.
Yeah.
And I thought I would just maybe I'll go in inverse numerical order, but I'll save our captains for last. So number 55, Baba Opell.
Oh, okay. Baba is. I would go with, the first word that popped into mind is tough. He's just a gritty kid. I was putting together the pictures for the slideshow, and he's got his jersey ripped in half of him, and he's just he plays with a violence and a want to, and it doesn't relent, I guess.
Yeah. All right, 53, Bubacar Barry.
Persistent. Bubacar started football, and I don't think he loved it too much. I think the physicality, his first go around that sophomore year was a challenge for him. But by the end of this year, he's playing every single snap on the scout team, and he's asking for more reps on defense, and just he really stuck it through and has come out better for it.
All right, number 52, Jason Perez.
Jason has, he's really matured, I guess is the word. Jason was a bit of a knucklehead when he was younger. I think he'd be the first to tell you, and that's not to say he isn't.
There's still a little knucklehead.
Yeah, that's not to say he isn't a knucklehead anymore. But, he flipped a switch, playing a good amount as a junior, but then really that off season, he and Bennett really were our leaders in the weight room and in the speed program, and I think it showed up on the field for him. And he really came out of nowhere, and Coach O'Donnell and I were talking, we're going to miss him like crazy at outside backer next year. We got a whole bunch of film to show the guy who gets that job exactly what we want to see, though. So
yeah, impressive, definitely. Number 22, Javon Hobbs.
Javon is adaptable, I would say. He came in, and his first day I think was in July, And football, a lot of people don't understand, I guess, how complex it is. It's got a meathead reputation, but he learned a defense quickly. He's a great athlete, so the physical side of it he got, and then he wasn't the soft hooper either. He got in where he fit in, and he put his head down and played physically, and we're going to miss that next year.
Yeah. Number 21, Harrison Gosa.
Harrison. Harrison is a he's the first word that came to mind was enigma, but I'm not going to do that to Harrison because
he was at one point.
Was, exactly.
And what is the word for the enigma that's no longer the enigma?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I would describe him is, we were trying to get him to flip a switch, even earlier in the year, the first week of the season for sure. And then he just had a wake up call and just became a dominant blocker and with the ball in the air, that was his ball, and he just he really bought into taking what was his out there, and we were all better for it.
Yeah. Number 13, Dominic Dwas.
Dom is the first word I thought of when we had discussed maybe doing this was for Dom, and it was sacrifice. And it's just Dom came to me in our meeting last year, and he said, I want to do whatever I can to help us win. And that meant playing a lot of scout team. That meant being on every special teams. That meant being the guy who knows exactly what to do in the most specific situation. And he owned that. And, he caught 2 2-point conversions this year. He fielded several kickoffs on sort of chaotic scramble plays.
Yep.
He just he was that guy. Not a lot of the stat sheet's not going to say a lot about him, and but every guy in our program knows he practiced harder, than anybody else, and that went a long way to us winning some games this year.
All right, number 12, Bennett Newman.
Bennett, I was trying to think of the best single word to describe this, and I guess contributor was what I came up with, but it's really about Bennett bought into helping us win, whether he had the ball or not, and part of that was having the ball, a good chunk of it, right, as the quarterback, but another part of it was us going with a run-heavy offense where we've got a wildcat in, and Bennett is still back there watching the O-line, and I don't know if I think I told him this in our exit meeting, but I don't know if he noticed that I noticed, but every time Nick would snap the ball, Bennett would just tell him exactly where the snap was, because you bring in a new kid who doesn't play quarterback, we need the snaps to be perfect, because when Bennett's back there, he's used to dealing with bad snaps and all that, but it needs to be good, and so Bennett found a way to just contribute in every moment, and sometimes that contribution came when the ball was taken out of his hand, and a lot of kids might pout, and a lot of kids he didn't. He kept contributing. He kept finding a way to, solve problems for us that, as a coach, I didn't even realize we had that problem. So, yeah, we're gonna miss that too.
Very cool. Tyson Hayes, number 4, Tyson Hayes.
Tyson's a warrior. Fought through, some pretty significant injuries in his time in high school and track season and football season, and never let the smile leave his face. Never. I've told the kids this story. There's nobody crazier than a guy who gets punched in the face. He's got a bloody nose. He's missing teeth, and he's just smiling the whole time. Like, you do not want to go near that guy, and that's kind of what Tyson is. Tyson will take a punch and just keep flying around and being violent and aggressive, and that kind of mentality is what's going to bring him success in whatever the heck he chooses to do.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to our captains. Number 33, Joseph Clayton.
JoJo. Joe is, Joe is, I would say, the word that comes to mind is demanding, and that has, I think, a negative connotation, but it's not. The way Joe demands people is really with joy and positivity. He's not demeaning at all. He puts so much in, and he's so fun to be around that he demands. If you're around him, you have to give more, and you love doing it because you get to spend more time with Joe, and that's just the kind of leader he's become, the kind of kid he is. He's almost always smiling and laughing, and as mad as I might be at something that has happened, if I'm near Joe, I have a hard time staying mad and staying quiet, not laughing. So
that's good. And number 3, Anthony Hood.
Yeah, Ant is just I'll say passionate. Ant is passionate. He really cares about the people around him, and he lets you know. And he's not corny, or it's not. You don't feel weird about it, And I think everybody on our team feels that, and I think everybody who gets to spend any time with him feels it too. And that's just something that when you put in as much as he does, and then you check on the people around you like he does, it just means that you can't, you don't even think about it. You're just giving more. You're investing in people like that, and that's what football is. It's a people business, just like everything. And we're gonna miss spending time with all these guys. I'm gonna get choked up thinking about it. But yeah, I would go with passionate for Ant.
Yeah, so much fun. So we got to make sure we have a couple of these seniors around to grab, but a couple more, just maybe a couple quick reflections from you. I mean, what do you think? I'm making this stuff up on the fly, Coach. What do you think in, say, 10 years from now? What are the plays or the moments this season that you think you'll remember the most?
I was thinking about that a lot. That was one of our, and I'm going to talk about this tonight, but that was one of our mottos for the year, was attack the moment. And we talked about the trophy and everybody in the stands and everybody watching on the live stream. And I don't mean any offense to that, but it was never about any of that. And it was about the guys in the room who'd been through what only they knew they'd been through. And when we talked about it, we said we wouldn't remember the trophy, we wouldn't remember the medals. You'd remember a moment from certain times at practice when somebody was goofing around or something like that. And I think a lot about that last drive offensively against Morgan Park, with our ones in, where we go 99 yards and we put up some points. And it wasn't our best game up to that, but there wasn't an ounce of quit in any of our kids. And we did something similar against Hope, and those are two really good teams. And I think if we played them later in the year, it would have been a much different game. But I think about that. I think about obviously there's big scoring plays, there's big this and that. But as a coach, I always love the little things. I love the fire call when the snap gets bobbled on the and then we score a 2-point conversion
to win.
To go up 2 points in a homecoming game. That's pretty big for seeding. I think about Jason Perez at practice before I forget which game it was, but I guess it might have been Bulls Prep, and everybody's kind of clowning him. He's the only O-lineman on the hands team, and then we get an onside kick the next day, and lo and behold, it goes right to him. And what does he do? He fields it clean and goes down and seals the victory for us. And so, as a coach, it's always that stuff. But obviously playing on, marquee, beating Simeon, getting to play in the city playoffs, scoring on trick plays, getting yourself a chance where we could onside kick and hang in the game, and all of those things.
But you didn't mind sticking it to Taft twice.
No, I did not. As a matter of fact, I did not. There's a great picture of Nas has a long run on sort of the inside Sally handoff, and Anthony made an incredible play where he gets in front of, and I don't know if the kid would have caught Nas, but he gets there.
He got the wall,
yeah. And there's a great photo where you can see the scoreboard, and you can see Nas, and you can see Ant kind of spreading his arms, and the Taft corner can't get there, and I'll remember that play for a long time, and that's on the effort film.
Yeah, it's actually one of the photos that we pulled for tonight.
Perfect.
It's all the way back there.
Oh yes, perfect. Yes. Yeah, that's a great one. So yeah, and it's nice to have the photos of it too. I would say,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, Coach, thank you. We got a big night ahead of you.
Yep.
Giving these seniors a send off. I didn't do this today. I meant to count the number of days until 2024 kickoff because, as much as I'm excited about tonight, we could start counting those days.
Yep.
I'm sure you're counting the days until you get back in the room with all these guys off season. But
100%.
Man, it's going to be exciting, and we'll be back for that.
Perfect.
And so looking forward to it. So thanks again, Coach Finger.
Appreciate you.
All right,
Thank
and
you very
then
much.
we're gonna, if you could do me a favor, and if you find any senior, send them over here, and we'll start the progression of things. So thanks to everybody out there on the live stream. So what we're going to try to do, we got the banquet starting at 6 o'clock. At least that's when people are coming in the door. We're going to try to grab all the seniors at some point or another and just have some quick words with them. Again, Coach Finger said it all in different ways. I mean, what a great season. The start against Hope, a 1-2 start, but then a 6-game winning streak. I've got myself Bennett Newman
How's it going?
joining us. How are you doing?
I'm hanging out.
All right. So QB1, number 12, Bennett Newman.
Yeah, woohoo.
Woohoo. Put this a little closer to you so we can hear you. I'm gonna give you a couple things. I want your reaction to it. So when we did this media day, do you remember what you told me that number one priority was?
Not turn the ball over.
Yep, ball security. So if I look back on the year, only 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
Number of those being things that maybe bounced off some of our friends in the room here. But you did that against 15 touchdowns passing, 4 rushing touchdowns, 26 total touchdowns in your Whitney Young career. What do you think about that?
It's nice. Good. I would have liked to get to 20 on the year, but 19 is cool too.
What and so talk about the ball security. Talk about the other thing I wanted to throw in there was the fact, and this is my stat, but I think it's right, and that was that there were only 3 real sacks during the year. I mean, 3 times that the clock ran out on you that you got sacked.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm going to definitely talk to the offensive linemen and credit them, but I think there's also something to be said for the quarterback who is doing that. So talk about the way your season progressed, the way you, from that first quarter, the first half at Hope, through the middle, the rest of the season, and how you felt as a player out on the field.
Well, the O-line did a great job this year. It's significantly improved from the last 2 years. We switched up blocking scheme at the beginning of the year. We went man-on-man instead of the last couple of years we've been doing zone pass blocking. I think that allowed our guys to win instead of it made a better situation for them. Week 1 we had wants paid out, so that hurt. But we came together the next couple weeks. Had a interesting week 3 against Morgan Park. But it definitely helped being able to move around a little bit. Last year I was incredibly stationary, and that hurt in a lot of situations. This year I could at least survive for long enough and let my O-lineman help me out.
Well, and I think that's something, I mean, you say it and we kind of joke around about but really throughout the course of the year, but at the end of the year, I remember you saying it to me at the end of the year of hey, I just feel comfortable. I mean, so while you're not a running quarterback, you were definitely mobile in the pocket, and you got to the reads that you need to do.
Yeah. Again, Coach Kyle helped with that a lot. He brought in a bunch of schemes. He made it really clear during practice, reads, who to go to, who to look for. So that also helped because instead of pre-snap and during the play having to think of who am I going to, we drilled it during practice so I knew this is my guy, this is where I go. If he's not open, I move here. And that allowed me to divert more attention to staying in the pocket, making moves, things like that.
Yeah, so, again, I mean, stat-wise, a couple other things. Against both Perspectives and Curie, 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
Actually, I think I had 3 against Perspectives.
3. Yeah, that's what I meant. 3 passing touchdowns in both of those games. So 3 against Perspective, 3 against Curie. So 4 total touchdowns in those games. And then also I wanted to talk about, and Coach mentions it a lot, he talks about you and Anthony working out a lot. Maybe tell our viewers what that looked like in the off season.
So we woke up at 5-ish Saturday mornings. Woke up to some nice an egg sandwich that my dad made in the morning. It was a little dry, but
Come on, man.
It was the thought that counts.
Thank you.
He drove us out there. 1.5 hour practice at 6:30 in the morning with a bunch of D1 players, college players. We faced a few of those guys this year. They're all going D1.
Yep.
Few dudes.
Marion Stewart was one of those guys from Kenwood.
One of those dudes. There's a guy who's on the Cleveland Browns right now, a dude who was on the Bengals for a little bit. So NFL dudes, multiple, like the saying "iron sharpens iron." That was big for Anthony and me. Like being able to go against guys in Wisconsin and Iowa right now, just like it helped out a lot. It helped with our timing, helped with every chemistry, all that stuff.
Yeah, yep, definitely. And so that was a Saturday practice, but there was also
Then we had Tuesday, what Anthony would do a workout with his coach, Landon Cox, and then afterwards he would catch from me with my coach, Byron Dawkins.
Byron Dawkins.
Yep, Byron Dawkins, QB1. And so he would get his footwork down, I would get my footwork down, and then on Saturdays we would put it all together. And then on Fridays we also did a workout, but it wasn't as.
Yeah, and then you're working out with the team. You're working out
Darren
separately.
Holslander.
I mean, Darren Holslander.
Yep.
We'll get your whole crew in on this. So let's wrap this up. I'm going to ask you what 2 questions. One is your most memorable team moment during the year, and then your most memorable personal moment during the year.
I think I'm going to go with personal first. It was against Perspectives when I get into the huddle on the 1 yard line. And I'm like, all right, we got QB sneak. And you could see Anthony in this live stream jumping up and down.
Yeah, so it was not expected.
Not
People didn't necessarily expect that to happen. Yeah, that's
got
very
in the end zone after a little push. I think Cepeda helped me out.
Yeah.
And then found Anthony, and we had a nice little celebration. That was definitely a highlight.
Yeah.
Team-wise, I'd say beating Taft that first game. Their homecoming, big crowd, and then just going in and killing them. Was definitely
that was
a
good.
highlight.
I think we were all pretty fired up about
Yeah.
that. All right, man. Well, I was going to mention, I mean, in the stat list, I mean, there was, and talking about the Anthony, I mean, there was a streak of 5 straight games where you guys had a touchdown pass connection early in the season. So very, very cool. Can you do me, you have any final words for our live stream audience?
I don't think so.
All right. Can you do me a favor and grab me another senior?
I will do my best. They're all kind of running away.
All right. Yeah, well, tell them they don't have a choice.
Barry Newman, great job on the live stream this year.
Thank you, Bennett Newman. I appreciate it. Here we go. Oh, sorry, everybody at home. I'll try to just take that headset from them from now on. So, yeah, that was Bennett Newman, quarterback for the Whitney Young Dolphins, a guy who played all 4 years. First year, again, as Coach mentioned, was a COVID year, no JV game. So a few of these guys that we'll see tonight had action all 4 years. I think both Joseph Clayton and Anthony Hood played his freshman 3-game season back then. Joseph Clayton, come on in.
Hello. I put this on.
Yep, you put that on.
Official.
It is very official. So, first of all, let's talk. Like during that Kenwood game, your dad's on air with me, and he's like, "Yeah, Joseph's got shin splints." I mean, what you had is a shin that was splintered, right?
Yeah.
So you can't see this because we don't have the camera moving. But Joseph is in a boot. Give us the prognosis there and what actually was going on.
So it was a stress fracture. I think it started to break like Westinghouse. So because I remember, I think it was Anthony. He threw a touchdown. It was like we ran. Oh my gosh, I already forgot the plays, but it was a trick play. It was like that reverse play that we did.
Yeah. To Nas, right?
Yeah, and he threw it. It was a touchdown. I was like, oh, it actually works. I didn't think it was gonna work. And I went up and I like shoulder bumped him, and I came down. I was like, that's the last time I ever do that again. Like the chest thing in the air. And I kind of like I had like shin pain like for the rest of the year, but then I got concussed. And with one injury,
that's called an upper body injury.
Right,
man.
right.
That was against Wheaton North, the state playoff game.
Yeah. The pain kind of subsided in my leg, so I was like, okay, I'm good. And then the practice, like the last drill of the practice before the championship, I think it like was really just
which was an onside.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring this up because of the modern day philosopher Allen Iverson said, "Practice. We talking practice." And that's where you had that upper body injury, and that's where everything happened. And you're telling me that it started on a celebration.
Yeah, it started on a celebration.
Good God. So if we have all of that, let's transition to the good stuff that happened. So first team All-City linebacker. 130 tackles this year. Yolich beat you out by a couple.
Well, Coach, he if you're near the tackle, then he gives you the tackle.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
you want to recount? You want to recount on that one?
I don't need
let's
a
make
recount.
sure that
I don't need a recount, but if somebody would like to recount, I'm not opposed to it.
Exactly. And you missed 2 games, so let's just say that tackles per game were much better.
Right.
33 tackles for loss. I mean, that's just like living in the backfield. That's incredible. Incredible. 1 fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Extremely memorable. And so then if we take it back, last year led the team, well, technically tied with Quinn, but 95 tackles as a sophomore, leading the team as well. 350 total tackles during your time at Whitney Young. Then if we flip it over on the other side of the ball, this year 58 carries, 435 yards, 7.5 yards per carry. The other thing is you also got cured of that affliction,
the
end zone allergy.
Yeah.
So 5 touchdowns this year, which is awesome. So when you think back on this year, what sticks out for you? What are some of the themes or the moments?
I don't know. I think it was just like the improvement from last year, and I think I don't know. I think last year we were kind of focused on superficial things like everybody talking about us like, oh, we're not that good. Like nobody wants to come to the games, this, that, and the other. But I feel like for me it clicked, interestingly enough, when we were losing in Morgan Park. Like I remember like why I played. It was like for fun. And I think I kind of attribute that to the most success. Like I think we all kind of figured out like, okay, like we don't really need all this other stuff. Like if we do what we're supposed to do and we have fun, we're going to have success regardless. And like I think even in like the toughest situations, like even in Kenwood, like we were having fun. Wheaton North, like kids were still having fun. Like we lost 34-0. Wheaton North, we're still having fun. But I think like I even had fun at Kenwood. Like I know I wasn't playing, but like it was fun. Like I think that's the biggest thing is like that the joy that we like had playing with each other.
And it's interesting because Coach Finger talked about Morgan Park too, and one of the things being that last drive, going 99 yards at the end of the game and scoring a touchdown. I think there's also something just thinking back to the way that schedule looked and the way you guys were feeling. It's like coming off of a tough season, knowing you got hope of 1A power to start with. Coach Eddie, I know that this doesn't mean anything to you because you don't understand this kind of stuff, but Coach Eddie famously said, we got a shot and a chaser as far as that early schedule. Now, I don't know what that means, but I think something about, that Morgan Park is like you guys survived. It's like, the first half, I think we were still a little gun shy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the second half, and we beat them in the second half. I mean, we scored on the last play, but it was, we held them, and it was still their ones out there. I mean, it was the 3rd game of the year, so it wasn't like we were just playing a bunch of their scrubs. So to me, that definitely meant a lot. One other thing before, so I was hanging out with Jason Perez and Bennett maybe earlier last week, and I guess in the senior class there are the questions going around right now, like who is this, who will be that?
Oh, the superlatives.
Yeah, the superlatives, right? So they were just listing some of those things off with me, and first of all it was like, oh, who's going to be the president? And they're like, well, that's Joseph. And they're like, who's going to host SNL? Well, that's Joseph. What do you think of that stuff?
I mean, SNL maybe. Presidency, I don't really see that in my future. But
well, I mean, and then like so, you talked a lot about that stuff. What about? And I asked Coach Finger this. 10 years from now, what do you think you're going to remember most about this season?
The fun, like all the like screw the record. It's the fun. Like it's the relationships that I've built. It's like I don't know. Like I think. Like, I'm upset that Simeon was my last game, but that is the most fun I've ever had playing football. I've been playing football since I was 3. Never had that much fun playing football. So I think it's just the relationships. I don't know, like the on-field moments, the on-field celebrations, the post-win locker rooms, the pre-games. Like, I mean, the practices, standing on the sideline in the cold, like watching scout kickoff, run down after the ball, like those little things.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. You said fun. I say, man, it sure was fun to watch you.
Thank you.
Both sides of the ball, everything that you did. Brought a lot of, what should we say, riz to the team? Can we say that?
I guess.
You got any final thoughts for Dolphin Nation out there?
I don't know. Just watch out for Luke Yolich and Maxwell in the backfield next year.
Yeah.
And watch out for Joe Gray and Luke at linebacker. They learned from somebody who might have been, pretty good, but we don't have to name names.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So good having you out here. Enjoy the banquet tonight. I see some royalty walking in the door right now with your mom and dad.
Yeah.
So go say hi to them. But before you do that, can you grab another senior for me?
Yeah, I will.
Anyone standing around, give me that headset.
All right.
And then give me somebody else. Thanks, Joseph. Hello, Clayton family. We're on the air. Come on over here until Joseph comes up, man. You know how this works.
I think so.
Oh yeah, we have. Yeah. Jason's coming, but I just I want everybody to say hi to Scott Clayton. Scott
there.
Clayton in the house. You've heard his dulcet tones throughout the course of the year.
Now you get to see my huge dome as I stretch out the headphones.
Well, we're looking forward to tonight. I just talked to Joseph and got his thoughts on the season. So thank you for everything in making that young man who he is.
Thanks for having me.
All right,
It's
man.
been a pleasure.
Okay, we'll see you over some Sorellis in a bit.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Scott. Ant. This guy I have next to me is the one and only Anthony Hood.
Yeah.
You looking good tonight, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, so let me I don't even know where to start with you, my man. I mean, so if we go with the hardware this year, all-state honorable mention.
Yeah.
All-city first team wide receiver after 2 years of being second team all-city second team defensive back.
Yep.
All-city. The numbers are pretty impressive, man. 508 yards rushing led the team. 401 yards receiving almost led the team.
Yeah. I was off by 29.
Yeah,
yards
yeah,
or something
that
like
kid Nasir Rankin. But I mean,
Boy, a dog, man.
he was a dog, but you were also throwing him the ball part of the season as well. 295 yards passing. That's 1,215 all-purpose yards. 14 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Let me throw some other numbers out just because I'm a numbers guy.
Okay.
How about some career numbers? 1,199 yards receiving on 92 receptions.
Oh, I did not know that was. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
didn't know
like
that
some
was cool.
NFL numbers right there. And again, I mean, the number of games played, 883 yards rushing. 883 yards rushing, so over 2,000 yards in total offense.
Cool.
29 touchdowns.
29?
29.
Should have got 30.
Well, anyway, talk about this season for you. Take us all the way back to sort of the off season and what you were thinking about and what you thought, what your expectations were.
I want to say, for starters, the off season for me was more so just to make it up to Alex and Jacob and Barsma, only because I knew they would be watching. And last season meant so much to Alex, and for it to not go the way that that we all would have hoped for, it was just heartbreaking for me and him. So it was really just I wanted to dedicate the season to him for starters, and then a couple things happened. We lost some guys, so I had even more to fight for, and that really pushed me to do all those things that I did this season and really step up anywhere I was needed. And I was just glad that we didn't finish how we wanted to, but I was glad that we still had a great season and we made some history. But there's always so much more that we could do, and I'm just excited for these boys next year, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's been the theme so far. People have talked a lot about next year's team. We're trying to keep it still this year because it's about you guys and what was accomplished. What give me your reflections and maybe well, I actually want to ask one other thing first because you talked about playing for Alex Dale, a senior graduated last year. I know that for you personally also in the city, because you played Windy City Dolphins, you played with a lot of the guys that we played against, like Nakari McFarland, Kenwood's quarterback, Dwayne Brooks, the receiver from Simeon. Have you talked to those guys or some of the other people and tell us what's the word?
I mean, yeah, those my brothers, man. To the day I die, it's Windy City forever. And we still keep in touch to this day. We like to just see how our recruiting's going along with each other. And honestly, I feel like 2024, that class of 2019 Windy City Dolphins, we really run the city for real. Like, we was all over the place. I'm pretty sure the only person from that class was Jaden that didn't make it to the playoffs, number 1, Bulls prep.
Okay, yeah.
Still a dog. He just got his first offer from Quincy. I'm excited for him, proud of him. And, yeah, man, like, it's just a brotherhood that is never going to end for me. Like, it's always going to be a part of who I am and the way I play football. So I'm just glad to see those guys succeed in everything they do, man.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about this season. For you, what do you think, what was your favorite team moment and what was your favorite individual moment? Can be in either order of those things.
Team moment, I'll have to go with 2 different things. The build-up to the execution that we had the first time we played TAF, like, it was just a different energy. Like, that was a big game for us. It was a rivalry game that we consider a rivalry game. So it was just fun all around. Like, everything about that moment was just amazing. And then my second biggest moment was us. Our second big team moment was us at the ceremony after we got our second place trophy in city. While it was a very emotional time and a lot of us were in tears, but it was just comforting to know, like, in that moment I felt nothing but contempt. Although it didn't end the way we wanted to, but it was just like a whew, you know, like we did what we sought out to do halfway at least.
Yeah, well, and exactly. And I remember you guys talking, you and Bennett talking over the summer when the schedule came out and you're looking at it, and city championship was always on your mind. And it was I don't think for you guys, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, it wasn't surprising where you guys ended up this year.
No, not at all. I mean, as soon as the schedule was released, I told my track coach, Coach Wallace, I was like, our ceiling, undefeated, but the floor is 7-2. Like, there's no way that we don't make it big this year. And I'm glad that I kept my word and that we showed up and showed out, man.
All right. Final on that, you mentioned recruiting. We know that the process is pretty goofy with transfer portals and everything else. I know that you're talking to some schools. How's that going right now?
Right now it's pretty good. Like, I'm in a comfortable spot where I'm confident enough to promote myself in a light where I can be an impact on someone else's team at the next level. I got my first official visit this Friday, actually, going up to Upper Iowa D2 school. I'm excited for that. Blessed to have that opportunity to go up there. I'm going up there with my mom, so that's going to be fun. I hope she enjoys it as much as I will.
All right. Very good. You want any final words to Dolphin Nation out there from Anthony Hood?
Thank you guys for an amazing 4 years. I worked hard. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears came into this program, and I hope that I leave my mark and my ideologies pass on to the next generation.
All right, man. And I'm sure they will. Thanks, Ant.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. I see Bubacar Barry. Let's bring Bubacar over. Also, make sure that nobody unplugs me here. I picked that spot because I didn't think anybody would be walking through there. But Bubacar Barry, ladies and gentlemen. Bubacar, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
All right, I'm going to just move this a little closer to make sure everybody out there in Dolphin Land can hear you. So, Bubacar, I can remember back to your very first time on the field. Sophomore year, JV game. Michelle Clark.
Yep.
Immediate impact, right?
Yep.
I think
fumble recovery. Yeah. And then tragedy struck, as everybody knows.
Yeah, well, and so Coach talked a little bit about that too, and just about how your journey in football here has been a challenge, but you've stuck with it.
Yeah.
And I think his reflection was, hey, maybe it wasn't something that you. And again, I told Anthony, I don't want to put words in there, but it wasn't something you necessarily loved the first time around. But I spent enough time around this team this year, and seeing you after practice.
Yeah.
Tell me about what the experience, especially this year, and what it's meant to you.
It's just been something that's really changed my life. As you said, the journey hasn't been the easiest, and coming in this year, I was like, I'm just gonna give it my all. Give it 100% every day in practice. I heard Coach Finger earlier talking about how, I got every rep on Scout Team D. I was making sure I was getting reps in on Team D. I just wanted to put in as much work as I could to help the team. And, it was just it was really amazing for me because, being with the Dolphin community, it just helped me on and off the field, having people to talk to, having people to hang out with, have a laugh with,
Yeah.
And then also on the field, having, brothers behind my back that I know I can trust when I make a mistake on the field, or who I could lift up when they make a mistake on the field. It was just really good. It was really good.
Yeah. And you were in there a lot. I was calling your name a lot. You were in that rotation. I think the other thing that you talked to me about during the year too is that, the spot that you're playing is not a glory spot, man. The nose tackle spot is all about just absorbing bodies and letting those guys like Clayton and Yolich get all the accolades.
Yeah.
And it's also dangerous, man. Bodies are flying around in there.
Yeah. Definitely. As you said, it's just about absorbing bodies, especially against bigger teams like Taft, or even when we played Wheaton North. They just have really big offensive linemen. So our job is to just keep them in place, open up gaps for our linebackers, it's like JoJo and Luke, to fly in, make tackles for us. And it really, you don't really get any appreciation for it, but you get the appreciation from your teammates.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
But you're right. That's exactly how it is. Let's give me some reflections. I've been asking everybody, both what you think you'll remember from a personal standpoint, and then also from a team standpoint.
All right. From a personal standpoint, I'll definitely remember having pursuit drills, having run fit pattern match. It just molded us D linemen because it included a lot of running, and as a lineman, and it's not your favorite thing. So, but it helped us improve. It helped me on the season. I think I had two plays where I ran across the field to help with the tackle. So, it definitely helped. But yeah, and then on the field, best memory is just winning. Honestly, just winning a game, getting another week with your friends, getting another week with your teammates, your coaches, getting another week to prove everybody wrong, prove that Whitney Young is a good team, and we did that. We made it to the city championship, unfortunately lost, but I know that we did everything in our power, and maybe after the game we were all upset, but right now I really don't have any regrets. I feel in the end I put everything I had on the field. My teammates put everything they had on the field, and I wouldn't change anything about it except winning the championship.
Yeah, very good. Extremely well said. Just a great journey. Glad you were part of it. Enjoy the banquet tonight. If you could do me a favor and grab me another senior that I haven't talked to yet.
All right.
Perez or Baba or Tyson.
All right.
Yep. So that was Bubacar Barry. We'll try to get some of these other guys as they're coming in. You can see the room is filling up. I might have to actually talk a little bit faster here. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Perez. We're just going to talk the rest of the night here. You and me, we're just going to hang out.
Absolutely.
We're just going to. So, holy cow, man. When I was looking back at some of the stuff this year, and Coach Finger said when I talked to him and I asked him about you, and he said, we got a lot of film on how guys need to play outside linebacker, and that's pretty cool.
That made my day when I heard it. My fault.
No, you're
that
good.
made my day when I heard that. It was crazy. It was a good moment.
Yeah, and so ranked 5th on the team in tackles with 72, and that's from an outside backer position. Again, Yolich, Clayton have all the stuff coming to them, and they're just falling on guys and getting credit for a tackle. You actually had to work for yours. 16 and a half tackles for loss. Also, and I remember, so two things I'm thinking about here. One is when Tony McHale was doing the game with me, and I can't remember which game it was, and he called out, Perez is in coverage, and I'm like, that's not trouble. So beyond what you're doing, I mean, you were out there covering wide receivers, taking care of business on the outside. What do you think of that? What was that something that, again, coming off the D line and offensive lineman most of your career, reflect on your job as an outside linebacker?
First, I'm gonna take it back to when I started. Like junior year, I played nose tackle, so I was coming off the one playing centers. Never got a snap at the end, and like being able to really trust the process. Be in the weight room, be practicing, getting faster, studying plays, like learning football, and just like leaving it all on the field. It was a great experience. I never expected to be out there, playing linebacker, but put work in, and I made it happen.
Yeah, so I'll say the other thing. I know that a bunch of those guys that graduated in 21, or that 21 team, right? So McHale, Wildermuth, a lot of those guys were at that playoff game. And somebody said, "Who's number 52?" They're like, "That's Jason Perez." And they're like, "Jason Perez?"
Yeah.
Because those guys, I mean, they saw you as that sophomore, and the transformation, dude, was just incredible. Yeah, nothing for me there. Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. So let me give you a couple other things here. How about this? You caught a pass this year.
I did catch a pass. That was a touchdown. Them CPS refs sold me. That was a touchdown.
Did you see the photo replay on that? We had our photographer. Yeah, it's there. It's in slow motion. There you are. Touchdown.
Over the line.
Yes, because you were
because we were whooping Taft.
Exactly, and you showed the skills to do the extension and get the ball over.
It's going on my highlight tape.
Definitely should. So then the last I talked to Bennett about. I mean that the offensive line group this year, and it's kind of hard to tell because you were running Wildcat and some of it. But I counted only 3 real sacks. I mean 3 drop back where there was pressure, and actually, I call it 2 on the O-line, 1 on number 12, and his clock ran out. You guys were just incredible as the offensive line this year, both run blocking and pass blocking.
It's all about the trust we have in each other. When we got that chemistry we built up, all of our players are like upperclassmen. It like spending all this time together, putting trust in each other. That's what makes it work.
All right. Give me some quick thoughts. Your favorite personal memory you think you'll have from football, and then your favorite team memory.
Ooh, favorite personal memory. That's hard. I gotta say the bus ride freestyles with Baba. That's gotta be one of my favorite. Wait, what's the other one?
Team.
That's hard. You can't just put me on the spot like that, man.
I mean, that's what I'm. Everybody else is able to handle it, Jason. Come on, man.
Okay,
I mean, I know you. You can handle it.
Like my favorite team memory.
Yeah.
It was my first season, and it was with all like the seniors from like that freshman class that really taught me like a lot about football and helped me like progress as a player. I still rely on a lot of things I learned, but it was before one of the last games of the season, and we had a breakdown, and it was really emotional. Because like a lot of these guys were playing their last game ever, and it was just cool to see that like togetherness. That has to be one of my favorite team moments.
Well, and I can see, and I saw this whole year your togetherness with this team. You're part of the glue, part of the fabric of this, and so much fun watching you play, watching you grow as a player and as a man. Jason Perez,
thank you,
thank you, my friend. Can you do me a favor and grab another senior?
Oh, absolutely.
I think I need Tyson.
Has Baba gone yet?
Baba, I would take Baba too.
Baba!
I don't think you should yell in that. Well, I forgot to mention that. Did you see that? Coach Finger was talking about how he was a knucklehead. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Here, let's put this down here to start with, and then.
Hey, Mr. Newman.
Let's do this. Can you do this with me? Can we get a Baba Nefasimi Opedele on 3, 1, 2, 3. Baba Nefasimi Opedele. Oh, man. So much fun. First team All-City offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Last year you were second team offensive lineman as a junior. Talk about, you are a strong dude. You're not the biggest dude in the world.
No.
Right? So every I'd say every single play you were giving up at least 50 pounds, probably sometimes 100, probably sometimes 150 pounds. How did you make it work?
Honestly, I think sophomore year getting against big guys like Tommy and Cash, the size going against them in practice every single day, I just didn't see the size anymore because they were bigger than like most of the kids that we've gone against. So the size difference, I just like, it doesn't matter. I'm going against someone bigger than you. Like, I'm not really afraid of you. I'm going against a bigger Division I athlete, Tommy Pursuer. I'm not going to be scared of someone who's in high school who's my age. Like, it just didn't click for me anymore.
Well, that's how you played, man. And so we talked about the offensive side, defensive side of stuff. My God, there were some plays this year. I remember this one play against Taft, the sack against their quarterback, where you came all the way across the field, and maybe it ended up being like a intentional grounding thing or something like that. But you were running like a 4-4 after that guy. What did you enjoy more, offense or defense?
Honestly, enjoyed more, I would say, defense. Because offense, you hit people, like, yeah, but defense, you got to hit people. Like, you got to put your shoulders in him, get him to the ground. I thought defense was better.
All right, well, you showed joy on both sides of that. 7th on the team in tackles, and we talk a lot about how this system is not meant for D linemen to make a bunch of tackles. I think we got Coach Finger starting here, but we're gonna keep going here. 3rd on the team with 16.5 tackles for losses. Led the team with 11 hurries, so you were in the backfield. You were taking care of business there. Other thing I wanted to ask, and a lot of times we were imagining what was being said on the field. What are some of those conversations like in the trenches? It's all niceties, right?
Not all the time. Like with some of the kids, yeah, we would talk and it was just like, oh yeah, like he's cool. But the Taft game, it was he was tripping a little too much. And he was saying some things he shouldn't have said. So I put him in the ground and he got mad. The Morgan Park game too, the kid was like talking smack, and I was like, okay, I wouldn't let that slide. And I was like, I'm not gonna let that slide. And he got mad and shoved me, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna hit you back, but okay.
Yeah.
And next play I put him in the ground. I was like,
you had your playing did the talking for you there.
Yeah.
Give me some quick reflections on what you think you'll remember most, both maybe a personal play or two, but then also from a team perspective.
Personal play, the Kenwood game where I ran after the quarterback. I feel like that was my biggest play this year because he ended up in a fumble recovery. Unfortunately, we weren't able to recover it, but I thought that was my biggest play of the year. And as a team, oh my God, I think the biggest. We could talk about the accomplishment all day, but at that, that's the end product of the work we put in. My favorite moment as a team was probably in the weight room, first day back. Everyone was like, we're like, the music is loud. We're all enjoying the lift. And the next morning, we all come back and we're in a group chat text like, yeah, I'm sore, and I have a chemistry test this morning. Physics, I was like, yeah, because I had physics the next day, and I remember just being in physics class and I just went to sleep, and the teacher got mad, woke me up, and I was like, I'm so tired right now. That was probably my favorite moment, just being with all my friends and everyone I consider family, just working hard with them. That has to be my favorite moment.
Yeah, well, it was so much fun watching you again. We talked on the media day at the beginning of the year. You know, you came in as a quarterback, and that story, which is great. But man, you are leaving here, just awesome. Both sides of the ball, just so much fun seeing you throughout your time here. So thank you very much, Baba.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Baba Nefa Simi Opa Dele. All right. I think if you could do me a favor, it looks like people are going through the line. If you could find Tyson for me.
Yeah.
Tyson, or let's see, who do I have left? Tyson might be, Dominic Dwas and Javon Hobbs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen those guys.
I don't think Javon's here yet. Javon's still at basketball.
Oh, yeah, he's got basketball practice. So, I know Tyson's here, so if you can grab Tyson for me, that would be great.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Baba. All right. So, as you can see behind me, we got some people going through the line. Sorelli's Finer Foods sponsoring, providing the food tonight. So we got some Italian sausage back there, some meatballs. Want to Felicia Spivak for getting that all set up for us. We've got a lot of volunteers putting everything on tonight. So it is definitely a teamwork activity with all the Dolphin families contributing tonight. We'll see if got a couple more seniors. Want to try to get them on. We got Coach Finger put together a rotating photo display that's going. Oh, there we go. Tyson Hayes, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. All right, great to see you, man.
Great to see you.
So Tyson Hayes, let's talk about first of all let's talk about you got an offer to Pomona.
Yes.
Have you been in touch with them? How's that going?
I've been in touch with them over the past couple months, and they invited me out to their campus, and it was really beautiful. I love being there. I love the environment.
California's all right, huh?
Yes. It's a lovely weather. Way different than Chicago as well. So I love being out there.
All right, very good. And then let's cut to the chase, man. Broken leg. How are you feeling? How's the rehab going?
I actually feel great. Over the past couple months, it's been healing really fast, and I'm glad I'm so young, so that it really my youth aids in the healing process. It's only been about a month since I was out of the cast, and I've been doing physical therapy every Thursday. So it's been a tedious but a really quick process.
All right. So you're saying old guys like me shouldn't break our legs?
Oh no,
well,
not at all.
Let's talk about a couple other things, because even with all of that, I mean, you averaged. So I looked at because you got hurt earlier in the year, but at the time you were 5th on the team, averaging 5.5 tackles per game. You already had 3.5 tackles for loss. You had that safety against Westinghouse, was it? Yeah. Reflect on the year. I mean, reflect on the time on the field, and because you really, I mean, you're physically gifted out there, and you could see your speed, your strength was really on display in the games that you played.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mostly remember everything like it's yesterday, in fact, because I've relived that moment in my head so many times. It was very tedious. I couldn't lie. I was a lot of strain, a lot of work, a lot of effort was put into my game. So it was a lot of effort. But being in that moment and being able to make those tackles and contribute to the team and push our team ahead step by step, it really created a momentous feeling. It created exhilarated. It lifted the team spirit, and I loved every single moment with my football team. I love helping them. I love being a captain. I love our little bus trips back, even though they smelled horrible. It was an amazing experience. So I'm grateful for the time I have with Whitney Young football.
All right, very good. And then let's talk also Boys and Girls Club, right? So you're the student of the year, right?
Youth of the year. Yes.
Youth of the year, and I see you all over the place. Tell me about that experience. Tell me some of the things that are going on, and what experience you've had as part of that.
It is an amazing experience being Youth of the Year for the Boys and Girls Club. They promote leadership throughout not only academics but sports and community development. So being a Youth of the Year and being able to inspire youth and become that role model for kids who don't necessarily have one, it's an honor to me. And I really transit that to the team. I bring all of my Youth of the Year skills and credibility to being a captain on the team and inspiring the freshmen, the sophomores, juniors, and even sometimes the seniors to compete at the absolute best and become the best version of themselves.
Well, we appreciated everything about it. I know that after you were injured and you were just with having a broken leg doesn't easy to get you around. I mean, when you came back for homecoming, that was something special.
It was an amazing experience seeing all my friends again. Everyone running up to me, "Oh my gosh, it's Tyson!" And I didn't know he was coming back today. That was like the greatest feeling to me, because at that point I was homesick. I was stuck in bed. I couldn't move, couldn't really get around. So being able to come back and seeing all the people that supported me, cherished my journey, and was there for me when I didn't have anyone, because not everyone knows this, but every single one of my friends reached out everyone sent gifts. They just encouraged me to keep going and never give up. That's why I would like to play football in college. I would like to just keep going with my life because of those people that supported me homecoming and throughout this entire journey. So,
well, it's clear that you're going to be a success, my friend. So good to have you part of the team. So good to watch you play, but so good, much better getting to know you as a person.
thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. If you can do me a favor, I have Dominic, Harrison, and Javon I'd like to get to. Can you find one of those three guys out there?
Yes.
I know Harrison's here. I'm not sure. I didn't see Dom or Javon yet. But if you could grab one of those guys, it would be great for me.
Absolutely. I can
All
go
right.
Harrison right now.
Okay.
But thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tyson. Yep. All right. We'll find these guys one way or another, even if we have to sort of set up shop at the Sorelli's table in the back. But again, thanks. It's a lot of fun talking to these guys. I've had the pleasure to get to know all of them, just being close to the team, and pretty cool stuff. This is when we need the commercial break. Or I need Scott Clayton to come back and tell some jokes. But anyway, we'll try to get a couple of those guys up here. Might have to grab Coach O.D. We'll see if Coach O.D., you got to come over here for a second. You gotta fill until I get another senior here.
Okay.
Oh, we're hooked.
Do you need me to go grab one, or?
No, I think Tyson is trying to go get me Harrison, but then I might.
Tyson can walk.
I might. Right. I sent the kid with a broken leg to go run around and get somebody. Coach Connor O'Donnell, defensive coordinator. I talked about some of the stats before. 16 points a game was what the defense gave up. 4 shutouts in there. What's your reflection on the year?
Well, I'm glad you crunched the numbers, because I teach history and I'm not so good at math. So, no, it's good to hear that. So, I think about our conversation at the beginning of the season when I told you that, the key to the defense this year is guys reading their keys, playing fast. Not many calls out there. The call sheet got a little bit longer, as, guys got more comfortable with the defense. But really proud of the growth they showed. So, do you want to talk to Harrison?
Yeah, I want. Let's do a segue to one of those defensive guys and offensive guys.
Yeah.
But Coach O.D., thanks a lot. Great season. Looking forward to next season.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Harrison Gosa. So when I set up the camera, I had Bennett, and then I'm like, oh man, we gotta tilt the camera a little bit because when Harrison comes up, we're gonna have the top of his head cut off here.
Yes.
So Harrison, my God, what a year. And I think about like some of the biggest splash plays of the year you were involved in on both sides of the ball. Let's just jump right into that, man. I mean, what are some of the things that you remember about this season when you think back? And I'm going to give you both the offense and defense side. Let's start on the offense. What do you think? What are the plays, or what are the kind of things that you remember from this year?
I believe it started after week 1. Week 1, we had a really, really rough start. And I think after week 1 is when I think that's when we were a lot more motivated and we had that fire lit under us. And we were a lot more motivated. We saw that this was our senior year and we weren't going to let one loss like that determine our entire season. So after that first week, we had a much, much better practice of that week. We had the best practice of the rest of our whole season. And we felt that every day needed to be a better practice, and that's what we kept in mind. And that's what showed, I believe. And I feel since then we've had a great offense. I think what's helped is that our team was always picking each other up when we were down. I think that's what we did a great job on, especially on offense, because not a lot of things worked for us. But when those bad plays happened, right after, we'd have a crazy 20-yard play or something. So I'm really proud about that we stuck together when it was down. We were down.
On the offensive side, your Hyde Park game, 5 catches, 85 yards, a touchdown. One just hugely contested. I think it might have been a 4th down throw that you just went up and
4th and
owned.
14.
Yeah,
It was
nice.
something like that, and then it was nice, like 30+ yards.
Yeah, yep. 3 touchdowns on the year. Let's flip it over to the defensive side, because there were periods of time where you were the most dominant guy on the field and in critical moments, right? So I think about Westinghouse, right? So you were chasing Bully all over the place. I think you had a couple sacks in that game. A big sack against Simeon, right? On that, on their final drive?
It was something. Either way, I think I played pretty decent.
Yeah. So I looked at it. You were second on the team with 8 quarterback hurries. You were always wreaking havoc back there. Tell me about defense this year and your mindset and how you felt you progressed as a player.
Defense, I couldn't wait for defense this season, really. Defense, I knew that we would come in as the best defensive team in all of Chicago. And I was really excited because what motivated me was last year, after every game, that night I'd always go to sleep having regrets or looking back at a certain play thinking, man, I should have done this and that. And it happened this season, but it was less frequently. So I feel that I left everything I could on that field, and that's what I'm most proud about. And I was able to sleep better at night, knowing that I did everything I could to better our team. And I think it shows. I still probably could have done more, who knows, but I'm proud of what I've done. And defense, I think I went off, and it may not be humble, but I'm proud to say that I played well on defense.
Yeah,
I was just really motivated.
I agree. I mean, are there some plays that stick out to you? I mean, I didn't want to steal your thunder on some of those things.
No.
What do you think back?
That sack against Westinghouse. Once I got that sack, everything clicked.
Yeah.
Because once you get, it's like playing your first football game. Once you get tackled that first time, or once you get your first tackle, you get used to it. You know how it feels. So once I got that sack, everything clicked, and I went on to get a sack and like a few hurries that game, and I think I went up. It was a trend.
Yeah. Well, I'll also say I know that you were very emotional after Tyson got hurt in that game.
Yeah, it killed me. It hurt me because all season coming up, starting in spring, we just had plans. We had plans about getting all of these offers, having all of these crazy sacks, and just crazy stats throughout the season. And for it to just all go down like that in week 4 of the season, it hurt me. I was like, man, it really hurt me because last year, if you remember, I fractured my ankle in our homecoming game.
Yep, against Phillips.
And it broke me. It was like I thought it was all over for me because I couldn't move my foot at all. And, people were oohing and ahhing, and it freaked me out. But what helped was knowing that I had another year coming. But for it to happen to Tyson week 4 of his senior year, it hurt him. But he's really smart.
Yeah,
he's got a great future ahead of him.
Yeah, he sure does.
We plan on doing some great things together in the future. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the rest of our senior class and the rest of our Dolphin family.
Yeah, I agree, and I share the same thoughts about you, my man. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Harrison.
Thank you, sir.
I'm trying to see. Have you seen Dominic or Javon?
I'll get them.
Okay.
Dominic.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Grab down for me. That'd be awesome. Thanks.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if Javon is here yet because he's at basketball
Yeah,
practice.
basketball practice. All the Nazir and Rico, they're all
Okay.
practice.
So I think. Okay. Yeah. So if you could grab down for me, that would be awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Harrison. What good guys. So yeah, we have Javon Hobbs probably won't be joining us, at least on the live stream. I think we got Dominic Dwas we're going to talk to, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight. So yeah, we've if you haven't been checking out Whitney Young Dolphins basketball, you need to do that as well. So the domination going on there. I mean, they're going to have a tough. I mean, the city is tough, right? There are a lot of great teams out there, but our guys, Nasir Rankin. Rico Antonio D'Alessandro, I saw his stat line the other night, 12 points, 13 rebounds in the opening conference game of the year, a win against Peyton. So I think we'll see those guys, and Javon, who Coach Finger talked about, just joined. I think he played football growing up, but then came in and played defensive back the entire year. Dominic Dwas, here we go, my man.
My presence.
Did I interrupt your dinner?
Nah, we haven't eaten yet. No.
Okay, the players are all waiting, right?
Yeah, pretty
Coach
much.
Finger keeps the guys tightly under wraps. Dominic, I always have to hesitate here because I have my favorite moments for each of you guys throughout the course of the year. So maybe before I start telling you all my favorite moments, tell me yours, like both from a personal standpoint and then also from a team standpoint.
Just like football memory here.
Yeah.
There's a few. Like.
Yeah, give me as many as you want.
I like the homecoming game. That was this year. The homecoming game this year was pretty fun. And then.
You're gonna maybe we should go into more details about that and just saying it was fun.
Well, the catch when I caught the 2-point conversion, that was pretty cool.
That was beyond cool, man. It's one of my favorite memories. It's senior night, homecoming, and it's a special teams play, and you come up with a huge play on that.
I know. I didn't even think anything like that would possibly happen. So that was pretty cool. Let me think. There's that JV game when we played Clark like 2 years ago when I just went crazy. That was pretty cool.
Yep, you were at running back and linebacker in that game. We just kept feeding you.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. That's probably the most fun I've had.
Yeah.
Let me think. There's a lot. I like the lane game from 2 years ago. I didn't really play in it, but it was still pretty the atmosphere.
It was a great atmosphere.
It's got to be the most amount of people we've had. Football game, winning on football games.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, definitely, without a doubt. And what about from a team perspective, and especially this year? What are some of the things you think you'll remember?
The city championship for sure. Even though it didn't end well, just the whole atmosphere there. That's what you live for. I'm not going to be a professional athlete or anything, but that's got to be the closest I'll ever be to that. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, so much fun. It was interesting because I was going through a bunch of the photos that were taken, and it struck me. You were on every single special teams team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I was looking at like a special teams tag, I was like, oh, there's Dwas. Oh, he's there. So there's some really good shots of you. And that Coach Finger talked about just your and what you said to him in the off season about just, hey, I wanna do whatever I have to do to make this team better.
Yeah. That's definitely what I told him. I wanted to just. That's pretty much my goal. I like being realist with myself. I like being real with myself. I knew I wasn't gonna be starting nothing on offense or defense, so I just wanted to get out there. Just get out there whenever I could, which is gonna be on special teams. And when I was out there, I tried my hardest. I got more stickers than I ever thought I would. Too. I know it's not a huge measuring stick for success, but that's more than I thought I would ever get. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a huge thing, and it is. It's I think it's reflection on this team, right? And really thinking back to what a lot of the guys said tonight. What I thought maybe was going to be their moment that they remembered. It wasn't. It was about the team. It was about the bus rides. It's about the time that you spend together. Because practice, there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And so you gotta have to enjoy the grind.
Yeah, the practices were fun. Of course, I think it's not so much the practicing; it's just the people. I made a lot of good friends here, so it's really just the people that made it so fun. It's not really so much the practicing. Of course, it was fun to run around and everything, be active, but it was just the people that made it so much better. So.
All right, I'm almost through all the seniors, so I'm gonna grab you next. All right.
All right.
Is that good?
Can I just go for my stuff down right quick?
Man, you can do it right now. Come on, they're not. So, hey, before you head off, man, Dominic, been a pleasure getting to know you.
Yeah,
Best of luck. Thank you for being part of this team. Thank you for being part of the Dolphin family.
Yeah, thank you, Barry Newman. Thanks for learning my last name.
Yes. I got that lesson. Bennett gave me that lesson early in sophomore year. I think the first live stream I did, I was mispronouncing Dominic's name. And it was like, hey, it's Dwas.
Yeah.
So, hey, I didn't know you'd be able to make it up here from basketball.
Yeah, I just got out of practice.
All right, how's basketball going before we talk football?
It's going good. It's going good. Still getting into it. You know, the football season was long, so got to get back into basketball shape and whatnot. But I'm doing good right now.
Yeah. So you guys, you were out in D.C. this past weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a quick scouting report on the Whitney Young Dolphins basketball team. You got some dogs.
Yeah. I feel like we're gonna be a really good team this year. We definitely have a chance to win city and state if we get everything together. It's just like a matter of fine-tuning the team and whatnot. Yeah, we're a really good team this year. So
Yeah, and a lot of young guys too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you've been graduating these senior classes to a lot of D1 programs. So good to see that. Let's talk football, man. So now, I said it earlier. Did you play football when you were growing up?
No, not really.
Are you serious? So you
Yeah.
never set foot on a real football field until you showed up at practice in July?
Yep, basically.
And you became a starting defensive back, starting corner. Not even just you're not just back there safeties with Hood and Duhan who don't really have any responsibilities.
Yeah.
You're out on an island by yourself as a defensive back. What was that like during the course of the year?
It was starting off. It was kind of tough. It was like something new. Like in the first Hope game, like seeing it like coming at you and like, just like seeing how quick everybody was. It was just like a real eye opener.
Well, that wasn't really fair.
Yeah,
that wasn't fair. Not to start you off against
but
Hope.
like, but it was a good experience. Like, I learned that I could really like hang with the best of them, you know. After the first game, you know, getting hit the first time, you know, getting popped, it was a real eye opener. But after that, it was just like I finally had like my coming to football moment. That was like my moment. And after that, it was just like it was cool from there. It's like I'm used to it now. I've got hit. No need to be scared. No need to be worried. So getting into it, it was fun. I loved it. Great experience. Even if it was something new, it was nothing I couldn't handle. So
Yeah. So I looked at the stats. Right. So you were fourth on the team in pass breakups.
yeah.
26 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and again, it was like you got a little dinged up. That was a basketball injury, though, right? So what's this? You can go through the whole football season and not get hurt. And was it a practice or a pickup game or something like that? You dinged up your ankle?
It was a little workout I was doing. We started playing some King of the Courts 1-on-1s. I jumped, landed on somebody's ankle, unfortunately, sprained my ankle. I tried to get back as soon as I possibly could, though. I was playing through it a lot. It was just unfortunate.
Yeah,
It was a little disappointing, but
And you were back for Kenwood, right?
yeah.
So give me your reflections on the year. Maybe your favorite memory, maybe from a personal perspective, like a play or something like that, and then your favorite team memory.
Okay, I would say my favorite memory. Okay, it's not really like the best memory, but it's like something that's really been sticking with me. The Westinghouse game, the ball went up in the air. I came down. The ball was in my hands, dropped the pick, but it was like when my teammates came over and they all was like, oh, how could you drop it playing, trolling? It was just like I really felt like I was a part of the team because they still came and picked me up. And it was like, you got it next time. And they just had so much trust in me, and they were just so, like, just happy for me to be, like, there and in the spots and where I was supposed to be. Even though I dropped it, you know. It was
There's a great photo of it, too.
Yeah, I saw
right?
it.
It's like the ball is there, you're there, and I think Joseph is coming over, and he's got his hand on your helmet, which just says a lot. I mean, you were devastated because you didn't, but it was a pass breakup, right? I mean, I think it might have been a 4th down play even.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 3rd or 4th down play. So, and how about from a team perspective?
I think my favorite memory was with the team. Probably just like practices because, like, it was just fun being around the players. Practices before the games, like those are probably my favorite practices because it's like everybody's locked in and like everybody's getting ready. You see like the focus within the players, but you also like still have like the team bonding and you're still able to talk to the players. And it's like and you know that like, oh, these are the guys that I'm about to basically go to war with. So like, being around them before games, like, you just know that like you're prepared and you're ready to go. You like have all the trust in your teammates that you need and whatnot. So.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Javon, I'm glad that we hung on air long enough to get you on. Great season, man, and we'll be out. We'll watch some hoops games.
All right.
So thanks a lot. I'll let you go get some food now or find a seat over there. All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Let me grab that headset from you. All right. All right, I want to double check to make sure that I got us all the way through our senior class. We did it. If looks like 66 of you are out there in Dolphin Land, thank you so much. I need a moment. I want to get too emotional here. I know that Coach Finger will later. It's been great to get to know these guys, and we're looking forward to next season. We're looking forward to celebrating these seniors and what was an incredible season, 9-4 record, city championship runner-ups. Thanks again, everybody out in Dolphin Land. We'll see you again soon. Thanks.